Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star, and we have one of your favorites, Kevin from MUFCTampa, back with us. Welcome back, Kevin. Things have changed drastically from the time we first spoke to now. What's your take on things?
Well, I would say it's 2020, right? But I mean, again, thankfully it's a new year at this point. Well, hopefully things continue, but I mean, absolutely. I mean, when we first spoke a few weeks ago, it was right before the Leipzig game, and we were all kind of wondering, is it Ole out? If we should lose, we did lose. There had to be probably some conversations at some level of, okay, you had everything locked up and then you fell apart. But now, since what, it's only one or two draws. Other than that, it's been straight wins in all competitions, some ugly. We will have to, but then also the Leeds game where we just completely destroyed um, a rival. So I honestly don't know where we really are. I'd like to think we're turning the corner to showing this is what we can be, but in a week we could be right back to where are we?
Where I don't know, but you know what's interesting is we spoke about the Wolves game before we started recording this, and a lot of us expected a draw, but we went out to win the game, and that's what some people define as those games that champions win, right? Where you play really horribly but still manage to pull out a result. Um,
Hmm.
so if we look in the last few games, I know Bruno has been contributing, but Bruno's not been at its best. So do you think the team is stepping up finally?
Yeah, I think they're having to step up a little bit because they know in the back of their minds, knock on wood that it doesn't happen. But if Bruno gets hurt or has to miss time, I know I looked at the Premier League site yesterday. He's on three yellow cards, and we still have, I think, 4 or 5 games before the reset. And we have several games before then. It could easily be in a week he's suspended for a game. And hopefully that would not be the Liverpool game, but that be a nightmare scenario that he picks up the yellow in the Watford game. I would assume those would carry over. I'd have to double check or not if they carry.
I
Um,
think so. Yeah.
if it does carry and then he misses a game, McGuire's on the same thing. He's, I believe, one away.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have to start resting him or if he's gonna get the yellow, do it quick and just miss. Maybe get the yellow against City, miss Watford, and then be back.
I
But yeah, I think the Dosa team is stepping up. They kind of realize that you know the belief is there that we can push on. So go for it.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is spot on, and that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, you've already mentioned the Liverpool game, but how important does the Burnley game become that we're playing before Liverpool? Because let's say Liverpool win the game, win the game on tomorrow. They're playing tomorrow, right? Yeah. Let's say they win
I think
tomorrow.
Tuesday or yeah, either way, Monday or
Whenever,
Tuesday.
whenever. Then they're not in the semifinals like us. But let's say they win the game that they have to play this week. Um, how important would that Burnley game be? Because if we drop points there, the pressure is way more on us when we go to Anfield. But if we manage to pick the 3 points, Liverpool will be pretty scared when we go there because a loss would then just make it a 3 pointer game, saying that they win against Southampton, which is not an easy side.
Right. It definitely. I mean, again, it's been our game in hand up till we keep always saying we got that game in hand. Well, it's here, so it's okay. You need to take advantage, or it's you've been just banking on something that um, isn't coming. Again, it's burnt. I'd like to say it's Burnley. We should get the 3 points. I'd expect us to, and then we can go into Liverpool with that continued momentum that we haven't lost a game since Arsenal in the early of or yeah, well in the league since early November, and can build from that if we should draw or by horrible situation lose to Burnley, then it's almost you absolutely must win that game against Liverpool where you win Burnley. We won't be happy with a draw, of course, but we could go. We got a draw. We'll see where the rest of the league falls out.
I think I don't know. It depends on how we look at it because I've been deluded for the last 1 month where we've been going on this crazy run, and I'm like, 21 is here for the taking. We're gonna win. We're gonna win the league. But I think these are the games that you have to win. I think United need to like focus on the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City and be like whatever their result is this week, we need to outperform that. So if they're winning, a win is something that we need to get. If they win and we draw, that just puts us in a worse condition. That's the only way I see us challenging for the title. Do you think I'm being deluded, or are you also joining the train? Because a lot of people have been joining the bandwagon recently.
I want to, and you see these last couple of weeks. I mean, not just our results. You look at every moment. It's everyone behind us. Arsenal, yes, they're starting to win some games, which sucks, but Leicester draws. Newcastle by some miracle can go, can pull off the draw, and Chelsea are, continue to lose. As of right now, they're still losing to City at time of recording. So assuming that continues, it's not whether it's a two-team race between the two of us. Well, we've reached the new year, so we kind of start saying we really start looking at the table now. We're about 4 games away from the halfway point. If we can, I think it really depends where we are after the Liverpool game. If we should win against Burnley and beat Liverpool, then it's 21 and 21. If a win and a draw, then you go, it's still there. But yes, we absolutely have to match or do better than what Liverpool do probably the rest of the season, because I believe actually Van Dijk, I think Van Dijk is possibly coming back soonish. I thought I
Yeah.
heard somebody said he could return, which would be a major boost on their end.
Yeah, I think there were rumors that he may just make the Euros, and because of that, he may just be there towards the end of the season. Um, but just thinking about United, and we're talking about them competing uh, with the likes of Liverpool and City. We have our own little team that believes that we aren't going to win the Premier League like few of the other guys on the channel. And they think maybe we should focus on the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup or the Europa League. But do you see us managing to compete on those many fronts? I mean, we do play City this week, and that is a semi-final. And I'm pretty sure Ole wants to remove that jinx from his back, right? That we always lose semi-finals. So do you see him going strong for that? Do you see him taking into account the Liverpool result against Southampton and being like, I need a stronger team for Burnley than I do for City? How do you see us putting us which competition as a priority?
It's a hard question to say. I mean, you could say it's if it was anyone but City in the semifinal, if we had gotten one of the easier. Who did Tottenham get their hands on?
Brentford?
Is it Brentford? You would have seen the kids play that game, and you would think you should handle this. They were letting them rest. We got City. No, we never want to take a City game lightly.
Mhm.
So whether they get any more COVID cases between now and that game, hopefully no one gets. Never wish ill on anybody, but they've had several cases. So I can't say we're going to let that game go easy, but it's a semifinal. We've got two wins. There's a piece of silverware. FA Cup. We've got third round is here. We're going to have like another 4 rounds after that. Europe, and then Europa could be quick. Sociedad's not going to make it easy on us. And then you got the league. I mean, you don't want to say I don't care about the league because these other ones when you're in a position that we are in. If we were still in fifth or sixth, kind of just fighting in the league, then you prioritize everything else. Now I would say league is number one, Carabao is two, which I just can't believe I said that. Um, FA three, and then Europa four, because I mean, Europa's nice. We completed the collection, so we've already filled that slot in the trophy case. But you know, can you just think of a better way to end a horrible 2020 year for United fans than to see Harry Maguire lifting the Premier League trophy and reminding Liverpool, you're still not us.
Yeah, yeah. I think more than Harry Maguire, I just want to see Bruno Fernandes lifted, and then everyone lose it, saying we won it on penalties. I would love to hear that. But I think what you've said is completely right when you've put it in the priority order that it's League, Carabao, FA, and Europa. So can I take it that you would say that the game against Watford, it would be the right time to rest the kinds of Bruno, Maguire, De Gea, Rashford, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, that would definitely be the game. I mean, is with no offense to Burnley, I don't think that could be the game that you want to rest any of them, because obviously we're saying the league is the most important uh, trophy that we're still going after. I could see that game depending on how it goes. If we can come out with a large lead, you might start resting in the second half. But definitely the Watford game, I would see I don't want to say weekend lineup, but fine, we'll call it the weekend lineup. Pogba will probably still start, but it'll probably be Pogba, Matic, Van der Beek midfield, and probably Greenwood would be starting up top alone. But yeah, Rashford and Bruno and the like. I would be very surprised if I see them in that game. If they do come in, it would be very much like we had to do before. You throw them in late when it's like, okay, we're letting this slip away. So I assume that's also straight to penalties. I don't believe we're doing replays anymore for any competition.
I think you've mentioned it perfectly, but you mentioned two players, and I want to pick on them. You mentioned Pogba and Van de Beek. Van de Beek seems to not exist. It's been the Christmas period, which is dubbed to be the hardest time in English football, and he's not played a single minute. Do you think it's just Bruno outperforming his general standards, or maybe Pogba trying to show the world that he can play football? What do you think the reason behind Van de Beek not playing and Pogba's sudden great performances boils down to?
I wish I had an answer. I mean, I know I've had that conversation with our own local group. It's like I think I said during the Wolves game, I'm like, what does he have to do to get a game? And I think one of ours said tackle Bruno in training, is basically, which obviously you would never want anyone to do anything of that like. But it's almost like if Bruno's not hurt and Pogba's not hurt, or the game is not just gotten out of hand, either for good or bad, he's not getting a game. Which I don't. I wonder how that's playing on him, because you've seen him in the stands where he's sitting there like, you signed me, I'm here. I could have gone elsewhere. Not sure of who directly would have grabbed him directly, but there's probably would have been names that would have he'd be starting for. Hopefully he's just doing a good servant for the club, saying, "Well, I'm here when you need me." But I mean, anyone who's in that level going, I'd like to get some playing time, and hopefully not just the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup or something like that, where even he can go, you're only putting me in here because you're not worrying about this game. And again, he has talent. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but he's not Bruno.
I agree. I think when the full concept of Van de Beek coming to United happened, I always thought he was an understudy to Bruno. Like, when we need to rest him, we play him. But do you think that there's a certain side we've seen that Pogba's agents come out? a lot of people on Twitter are saying that Pogba's 100% leaving Manchester United in the summer of 2021. So do you see Van de Beek being that replacement to play alongside Bruno? Do you think this was a buy for the future instead? Because a lot of fans, including myself, are like surprised to see the lack of football that Van de Beek's played, even though when he's played, he's put in some great performances.
I mean, he could definitely be for the future. I mean, do we want to believe a word coming out of Rayola's mouth? I mean, ever? I mean, or Pogba's mouth? I mean, anytime they open their mouth and say, I'm happy, I don't believe you. You know, the only time I'm going to believe you're happy is I see you behind that nice long table with a piece of paper and you're signing something, basically saying, you are ours, you know, for another year or two or whatever it may be. And again, that's not a knock on Pogba. I mean, his agent wants to get paid, and you know he's going to do what's best, quote unquote, for his client. But you know, yeah, maybe he is the long term. You know, Van Beek was bought in on the thought that Pogba is leaving. Either we're going to try to sell him, and he'll be money for something else, or you know, injury backups. But he's got to get some playing time because I mean, if he just sits there on the bench, you know, he's going to get into a game and he's going to be rusty. And do you want him to go? We'll just say Bruno gets hurt between the next game or two, which obviously we don't want, and we have to put Pogba and Van de Beek in against Liverpool. He's not started since. You'd have to remind me when the last start he had would be. That's not what I want.
Yeah, I agree with you. But again, like you mentioned Pogba, and this is like a long story. But what do you think it takes for United to keep Pogba? Do you think winning the Premier League or maybe winning a few trophies convinces him to stay, or it's more or less over? The dream's over.
I'd like to say when the league will do it, but because I don't think it's trophies. Because we've won some stuff since he's been here, not a lot, but we've gotten some. I mean, definitely staying in the Champions League on a consistent basis is going to have to be it. I mean, yes, we're in, but we were out just as quickly as we were in. I mean, if the season ended right now, we're back in, great. We win Europa, we're in, great. But I think at this point he realizes that I'm not the person who plays in Europa. I'm built for the Champions League. That's where my money is. That's where the sponsors are. That's where people, that's all the nice anthem, nice commercials, and all that. Not you know, oh, we're here with some teams that can't hack it with the top level.
I think you're spot on. I think winning the league would keep him at United. I think he needs that glory or that fame, which he would probably get in Madrid very easily. Um, but coming to the last question that I have, which is a rather long one and something we can talk for days about, is the transfer window. I mean, last year we signed the player that made the biggest difference to the squad in the January transfer window in Bruno Fernandes. And personally, I think if we've spoken about competing on all fronts, on winning the Premier League, do you think we need players in the transfer window? Personally, I believe we're missing maybe one or two. But do you think we need those players to continue battling it out? And if so, which ones?
That's the hard question. I mean, we have to partially take into account some of the players we'd want will be cup tied. So if we are bringing them in, they would strictly have to be for the Premier League
Hmm.
at this point. When you look at the team, forwards were set. I see there's no need to bring anything in that department. Midfield, maybe one or two, but then again, we're in the same conversation. Vanderbeek can't get a game, so why am I going to bring in anyone of decent caliber because it's not needed? I think the biggest thing is we could use another center back or two. Bailly is back till he hurts himself, which is again, I when we first signed him, I'm like, I think we found the Vidic replacement.
Yeah.
but we found a bitch that is made of cheap steel and not the good stuff. And again, I mean, even this last match, he went down, and we're all like, "Oh no, not again," because we can't. Can we trust that he'll be there? So I would say one or two more defenders. Grealish would be great, though. Villa did put 100 mil price tag. I don't
Yeah.
know if that would be if they would be even remotely willing to sell in January. That would probably be a summer, and he's not worth 100. I'm sorry. I think they wanted 65 last summer, and we went in for 50, and I think even that was um, questionable.
Hmm. I think you're spot on. The difference is I don't think we need a center back. I think Eric Bailly will be fit, but I'm deluded this season, so you can blame me for saying that. I personally think if we can get Sancho on a cheap deal, I would take it on the right wing. I think we can't play Rashford and Greenwood on the right wing. They aren't right wingers. So for that reason, maybe Sancho. Would you think that the Sancho drama is over or it's still going on?
Well, I'll maybe yes and no. The question is, he has not done well this season.
Yep.
Is that just a good player having a bad season, or is that I don't want to be here? I you know again it's paper talk, it's agent talk. Did he say to his teammates, I want to go to United, I've always wanted to, I want out, and the club said, no, you're under contract, you're not going anywhere until we get the money we want. Again, Dortmund are delusional that they're going to win the league. I'm sorry, Germany's a one-team league. It's Bayern's to lose every single year, and if anyone in Germany thinks otherwise, well, I've got things we can sell you for that. I would, I think it would be great to have him come in, because yes, you could put him in and he would start right away. But if his quality is dropping, he's not the 120 mil
Yep.
transfer plus what 250 a week.
Hmm.
I mean, again, we've got other guys that we're gonna have to start paying because um, they're getting noticed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're spot on. I personally, I just think it's Ed Woodward's tactic. He told Jadon Sancho, mess up your entire season so we can get you on the cheap. I can actually see that happening by Ed Woodward. And then when the next window comes, he'll still try to lower the price. But that being said, there is some good news that there's a player known as Moise Caicedo or something like that, 18-year-old kid who's dubbed to be the next Kante or Pogba, who's apparently going to be signing for United in the next week. So I guess we're super into
That's
kids.
not the kid from Atlanta, right?
No, no, no. That's Ahmad Traore, Ahmad Diallo.
Okay.
So he's going to come down as well. So we have a bunch of kids coming out to United, which probably could be a good thing because we're planning for the future. But Kevin, last question: if I had to ask you today, are you part of the train or no? Are you joining the bandwagon or no? Is 21 coming in 2021? What would you say?
Well, I know I said earlier, we need another week, but assuming I'm going to go with we're going to keep doing what we're doing. So it's 21 in 21. Again, can we both, as long as everyone else from all the other podcasts around the world have to start eating crow come May and see Liverpool horribly lifted again? I mean, at this point, I think it's down to the two of us. Leicester, I think, will kind of keep fighting to the end, but I think we're starting to pull away. That it's going to be Liverpool or United, which for right or wrong is the way it probably should be, and
Yep.
it has been for what, the last 30 plus years.
Hmm. I think you're right. The fans deserve a United versus Liverpool title challenge. It's been a while. It's either been Liverpool have been trash or United have been trash. But guys, that's about it. This is this week's podcast. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on. Do look at MUFC Tampa's Instagram page. The links in the description below. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. If you do like it, please click on the thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell icon to get daily notifications from the United Star. Follow us on Instagram at the.UnitedStar and we will see you soon